Hello, my friends, and welcome to my next video podcast. Today, I am going to be talking about something that I've wanted to talk about for quite some time now, and probably one of the most important videos that I'll ever do, or one of the most important podcasts that I'll ever do. If you're out there and the topic that I'm going to talk about is affecting you, which I believe it, like where have you been living? If it's not, then, please reach out, leave a comment below, like, share, subscribe. It helps me out. It makes me feel appreciated. It makes me feel that I'm seen, that someone out there in the darkness can actually see some level of reality. And that gives me a hope for the future. And it's also, of course, the topic at hand is loneliness, the age of loneliness and where it's all going. This is going to be a heavy-duty podcast, so I really want to come in and hit a few points that I have that are just running rampant in the top of my mind's eye right now, and then I'll just leave it at that. So the age of loneliness. Where would one even begin? I mean, if you're in the world, you know that we are in a pretty fucked up state of affairs. Now, I am on the left-hand path. I've been very upfront about that. Some people ask me what the F does that mean? Well, it means that I walk my own path, and the path that I'm committed to is truth. But the path that I'm on is not looking for light and fluffy bullshit. I'm not looking for unicorns and glitter and Instagram posts that look pretty to get attention, because that's really what spirituality has really been reduced to. It's just bite-size, easily digestible entertainment. Everything's been reduced to entertainment, and everyone has this illusion that it's all about a quick fix, and things and results can happen very easily for you with very little to no effort, and it's just not real. So I came to this path in a lot of ways, but the main way that I came to this path is the topic of this video: loneliness, not having a tribe, not feeling connected, feeling disconnected, feeling like you're in a state of fragmentation, because I am. And if you haven't figured that out, then I'm telling you, hear it from me right now. The level of loneliness that I've been in over the past few years has been off the charts. I feel most of the time like an orphan in an orphanage. Now, imagine walking into an orphanage and just telling the orphans, everyone, gather round. Okay, now everyone love each other. Everyone now go out and get shit done. And you're not supported, you have no love, you've been thrown away and abandoned, you've been used and manipulated by people, you probably had to sell yourself just to survive, and you've got probably fuck all support system, maybe one or two people in your life, even if you're lucky at best, but now you're supposed to function when you are completely in a state of fragmentation. Now, I am talking about a demographic here, and I don't need to say it. If you figured that out about me yet, you'd already know what I'm talking about here. Okay, I don't even need to say it. One cannot give what one does not have. And I am declaring in this podcast, and it's been declared many times over, a state of emergency. Okay, we are in a state of emergency. Loneliness is the worldwide epidemic, and it is going to be the undoing of mankind. It already is. And this isn't something someone's going to gaslight me on, where they're like trying to get me to reconsider what I'm saying or some shit like that, or trying to say that what I feel isn't right. You're not going to do that to me. Okay, you're not. I know, I was there, I'm here now, I'm living it in every single day. We came into this world through an act of connection. I know it sounds hard to believe that, but we are all one. So when I see people that are really, it just seems like at the moment out there, just putting it bluntly and cutting it really simply, there is just too much fucking technology. And this technology is coming between the connections that we have and that we form with each other. Now, the frontier of spirituality is not through technology. It's not going to be through going up into space. It's not going to be through putting a chip in your brain. It's not going to be the merging with AI into the human body or consciousness. The real natural reason that we are here is to grow, to learn, and to expand through what? ... What do you think? What is it? Connection. It's what we're here for. We are here for connection. The quality of our lives is the quality of the connections and the relationships that we form with each other. Straight up. Okay, and despite all of life's challenges, I'm going to be really honest with you. It's so difficult and very, very unusual and rare to find someone that can have success in life and have come from a place of fragmentation. I dare you to find it. I want to know. Like, I try every day where I'm at, as much as I am. I'm proof that you can do it, but I know that it's not sustainable long term. It's just not. It's not possible. Okay? We need each other. Humans need each other. We need each other to face challenges, whether it is a lover, whether it is a mentor, whether it is a friend. And I'm not talking about a fucking phony Instagram friend. I'm talking about a friend that if you're having a breakdown and you need support, they are going to hold you and they're going to say to you, I am not going to let you go. You are going nowhere. I'm not letting you out of my sight, and I'm going to be with you here all night until I know that you're okay. That's a real friendship. When we integrate each other, warts and all, wounds and all, that's when we can have a real, long-lasting, healthy, stable connection. Now, this is the tough thing that I always come back to quite a bit, which is one of the mantras that I often find myself reciting. Very, very hardcore, very heavy duty. Okay, so if you're not up for heavy duty podcast today, then click away now. Okay, because what I'm about to say is kind of like a game changer for me, and I'm sharing it with you right now in the hope that I can get connection with people out there that can actually understand what the fuck I am talking about here. So it is that if there never was acceptance, there never was love. Okay? I'm going to repeat that again. If there never was acceptance, you never actually had love. There was no love there to begin with. So I'm going to break that down again for you in a more simplistic way, if you haven't already figured it out what I'm saying. You can't pick and choose. When someone picks and chooses parts of you that they like and then just denies and deflects and ignores the parts of you that they don't like, that's not love. Okay, so think about it. If you have a mother or a friend that just glosses over parts of you and just focuses on the parts that they like of you and they pick and choose those bits of you, that is not love. Okay, now how far could that ever really go? Same with what I've always been saying is that if I met someone and I was going through the dating process and trying to court and meet people, if I can't just show up and just be myself, how far could this ever really go? It can't. So it's so important that we have a strong sense of self and connection with our own truth so that we can form authentic connections with each other. But the problem is now in society with all this wokey shit is that there's no consensus on reality. Anyone can be everything all at one time. So what we have here is an oversaturation, basically fantasization of diversity, and everyone's out there talking, but no one's actually connecting. And I've talked about this before, in order to actually form a connection that is real, that can prevent and treat the opposite of loneliness, which is integration, opposite of fragmentation is integration, which is love, is that we have to actually have a form of a point of relativity, a form of connection to base that connection on. Okay? That's why when we put everyone in the same category and say we're all equal, we're all the same, that is insane. That is not even possible. The point of existence is that existence exists, and we're all on different levels growing and evolving. Male and female are different energy-wise. There is polarity here, okay? It's like fire and water. To say that it's all the same and is to not recognize its own individual elements is reductionist insanity, okay? I know that sounds hard to hear, and I know that's not politically correct, but I don't really give a fuck, okay? It would be like fire saying that it could be water. Both bring in different, unique energies into the world because both are different and unique energies. They're not the same, okay? So when we oversaturate everything with reductionism, and I understand why, because it feels good and it's nice and it's important to be inclusive, and I understand that, but we also are going to be creating massive problems here because we're not recognizing the being that it is. Just like with the jellyfish analogy, if you love the jellyfish, you would understand that it is a jellyfish. It needs to stay in the tank of water. If you understood the being that is before you, then you would do what it needs that would be in the being's best favor for you to love that being or to show love to that being. All right, so I know I'm just putting that out on the table right now, okay? It would serve your soul no purpose to come here and have equality. Equality is not possible. Everything is relative. If I'm tall and you're shorter than me, you'll experience what it feels like to be short. If I'm really knowledgeable about a subject that you thought you knew a lot about and I know a lot more than you, you'll feel stupid. If I'm really rich and live in abundance and have all this money and you don't have that money, then you'll experience lack of money around me. Everything is based on contrast, black and white. The laws of nature, the laws of balance are laws that cannot be transgressed. And this is something that's happening in modern day society now, where laws of nature are being completely evaded. And at some point, Mother Nature is going to get fucking mad. She's going to see humans as a virus, and they will be wiped off quickly. Now, if you're a cultist out there, or if you're some kind of esoteric spiritual teacher, I have a question for you, because it's a question I often ask myself. Once humans have destroyed and wiped ourselves out, where the fuck are the souls going to incarnate? Where? Okay? Where? I want to know. If you're listening to this podcast, please leave a comment below and answer the question, or let me know your thoughts on it. That would be wonderful. I'd love to learn something new. Or see a different point of view. So yeah, what I'm saying here is we need family. We need love. All right, we do. We need healthy support systems around us where we can face the challenges and have the support and methodology to be able to deal with the obstacles that life throws our way. We need that. So when we trivialize relationships and we don't place value in relationships, society begins to collapse. And now it's being said that by this time in 2040 or by 2035, that 40% of the world's population will be single. Okay, now why is that? Why is that? Apps. Consumerism, how we interact with each other has changed so drastically since the internet popped up, since everyone's on these apps, since everyone is basically using and discarding each other and treating each other and reducing each other to a doll or a dildo and then getting rid of them. You know, it's like these apps that we're on really just capitalize off us always looking for the next best thing, the bigger, better deal, the new option. And we're treating people as if it's like an iPhone, where when the iPhone gets old, we get bored, we just delete it and go find another one, but we're humans. And it just creates more trauma. And then we have trauma bonding, and then people get all fucked up, and then they feel hurt, they feel angry, and then they act out that trauma on other people. And it's just this vicious cycle, and it just spins around, and it's just all lacking of connection. And, I'm the first to say I need love in my life. And I've come to understand it doesn't matter that I have a house. It doesn't matter that I have pretty things. It doesn't matter that I have a nice car. It doesn't fucking matter if I don't have love, if I don't have someone to share this with that really sees me, understands me, can really fucking receive me intellectually. I have nothing. If I don't have family, I have nothing. Get that and get it good. I'm telling you from personal experience, because I'm walking this path right now. If you think about it this way, if you went on a holiday and you went on your own on a holiday, I mean, it's lovely to be independent, and I'm all for being independent, because I've probably become quite too independent, to some point. And I look out into the sunset, and hey, isn't that a beautiful sunset? Look at that. And there's no one there. There's no one there to share it with. No. But what's it all for? What's it all for? That's the thing, and part of this video I want to say is that there's so much emphasis on sex and the pursuit and the consumption of sex, but that's not an act of love. Sex is the act of the consummation of union, which has become commercialized, but that's not connection. To build a stable, healthy, long-term connection, we have to do something called, what we call in psychology, is we close the doors and we shut the windows. So when we close the doors and we shut the windows, we're removing potential threats that could destroy that relationship so we can sustain connection. So if I'm in a relationship with someone, they're not going to be on a dating app. They're not going to be on Greatest Catch or Plenty of Fish or Grindr or Elite Singles or some shit like that, because they're with me. And if they're with me, then they're exploring the best potential option with me in that relationship dynamic. We're not having outside influences from technology, which, by the way, these apps capitalize off your suffering. These dating apps capitalize off your being single because they want you to be on there. They're profiting from it. Can't you see that? Another part of the point I wanted to make in the video, in the age of loneliness, we've got all these people today that are really kind of just, these apps are just turning people and men into sex addicts. They aren't pursuing any type of relationship. They're not in a place where they're able to give something that they just don't have. And it really teaches them to never really be satisfied. They're fucking addicted to these hookup apps, and they're not pursuing anything that is sustainable or wholesome. And that's why we have more people than ever before that are depressed, alienated, anxious. These platforms, they're getting away with doing this to people. Same with Instagram, same with social media. Everyone's in this lane where everyone's competing with each other for limited attention in this algorithm. Okay? So today, in terms of dating and loneliness, you cannot get away with the pursuit of sex in the chance that you think love will happen. It's actually the other way around. Okay? It's the other way around. That's how we build real connections, by getting to know people. Being vulnerable. That's how we bring safety into a relationship, by being vulnerable. We have to be willing to share our truth with other people so that we can be received. And that's how we bring safety into the relationship. That's how we don't get abandoned or abandon others so quickly. Because we got scared, we get to be vulnerable. Oh my God, I don't know what to do. Run out the door. this is the thing that I'm saying, is that if society and the way that it's all moving in the collective continues to go this way, everything is going to start breaking down. Families are breaking down. Connections are breaking down. That's what it is. I don't know anybody who has really, pursued sex first, was able to build anything that was of substantial connection, that was long lasting. I've never seen it. I've never ever seen it. We're needing people to start looking beyond their own sexual arousal and compatibility based on sexual arousal and start connecting emotionally first. That is what we need. Okay, so when you kind of when you do it the other way around, you're really kind of fighting the mechanics of compatibility, and you've got it really kind of reversed. And that's the thing, it just seems that relationships these days are just, there's just no approach to emotional communication. People ghost you, they disappear on you, and it really worries me with the younger generation, where if all they know is computers and iPads and they are living in this really hyper online world, it's very void of reality in the physical world. So even just doing simple things like going for a walk and sitting down on a park bench and talking to someone, talking to a younger generation, they freak out. They are terrified of talking. They run away. They don't know what to do. They haven't developed really basic interpersonal connective skills to build any type of platform of relationship on. So they run. And that is the world that we are heading into today. Communication and technology is just moving so fast that it's faster than a human can conceive and process emotional things. We need time to process things. If everything's it's kind of like a Gemini on speed. I know that's a hard analogy, but it's everything's so excited, and it's like a fucking Gemini. It's like everything has to be so excited all the time. And the moment that it's not excited and that kind of endorphin hit runs out and things start to kind of create some level of normalcy, they run out the door and they disappear because they need that super high energy. And it's all just this excitement. They're so overstimulated. That's what it is now. Everyone's overstimulated in the brain. When you log onto these apps, when you log onto Instagram, you're getting the dopamine hit. You're getting this hard thrust of everything's coming in at once. And it has a psychological and a spiritual kickback. It does. And it really impacts the quality of your life, and we need to start to see this. That is why I'm declaring a state of emergency. Okay? Be honest with yourself right now. Be honest. I'm going to ask you, do you have a support system of at least even just one person that has really got your back, that really is going to be there for you, that really knows you? So when you're feeling sick and you've got a situation, they're going to come over and take care of you. That they're going to be there for you when you've lost your job, when you're down and out on the floor. Because I can tell you the most romantic thing, I've ever seen someone do in a relationship, the most romantic thing that I think that you can do for someone in a relationship is when they're having a breakdown and when they're down on the floor, you're holding your partner. You're holding your man. You're there for your man. You're there for your lady. You're there for your person. You are there. That is the type of connection that we need. Because most of the time we're just kind of orphans. We are. And it doesn't matter how much sex you're going to have. Sex is just a temporary feeling. After the sex is gone, it's nothing. What would compare to the amount of joy and safety that you could have in a loving, caring relationship as opposed to just a quick fuck? At some point we have to sustain something that is real. Because love and true connection is the greatest superfood, the greatest medicine that you can get. And it doesn't matter how many vitamins you take or how many antioxidants you take or whatever stuff you do that affects your health in the physical. I can tell you loneliness and trauma, because loneliness creates trauma. It creates angst. It creates instability. It creates depression. It all percolates in the body. No amount of vitamins can compare to love. Nothing can heal another being more than another being. Humans are an interdependent species, just like a deer. So if the deer can wander away from its group of deers in the forest, but its natural state is back with the other deers. It's just straight up truth. I'm just giving it to you straight. So if we're not practicing healthy behaviors that can sustain long-term relationships, then it's all a complete waste of time. And I'm all for being independent, but we are not made to be radically independent. We're just not. So usually what happens is we reject the ones that really can offer us love because we're looking for the bigger, better deal rather than working with what we have right now. That's that consumption and consumeristic, capitalistic way of thinking, is that we ignore what's around us and really hope and dream that one day it'll happen. But if you're not getting out there and putting yourself out there and being lovable and closing the gap of space between you and love, love can't come to you. Connection cannot come to you if you're not in a vibration that can close the gap of that connection. It's not even remotely possible. And it doesn't matter how you look. Often, I'll be honest with you, brutally honest. Let me have a sip of the tea before I share this tea with you. The most real love that I find is somewhere in the middle. The middle ground is where it's always at. Life is like a seesaw. To step too far on one side is putting the other side out of place. So it's we've got to be constantly moving and adaptable, especially with what life's going to be throwing at us in the next 10 to 15 to 17 years that we've got left, because it's like a blanket. And if we aren't able to adjust ourselves on the movement of the blanket, we're going to get flipped off the blanket. And a lot of you will not survive the next 17 years of what is actually coming. A lot of you won't. I don't want to go too far into that because I'm privy to some pretty heavy shit, but I'm being fucking serious here. For what's coming, if you don't have dependability through others and you don't have connection, your days are just numbered. They are. And scientifically, we know, and there is actual proof now that we know that people that are single, people that have gone through loneliness and fragmentation, actually die younger. Same when we know people that have retired. People, they say the biggest killer is retirement. When we start to fuck around with purpose and when we start to fuck around with love, everything starts to collapse because that's what we're here to do. So once the soul has checked out in this place of depression and sensory deprivation, or I'd like to say what I'm in a lot of the time, which is emotional intimacy deprivation. Remember, intimacy, into me, I see. That's what intimacy actually is. So you can have a relationship, but you've got to ask yourself, it's not really a relationship. It's just you've got an arrangement. You've got a housemate, okay? Get real with this, all right? So we know that people that are single, people that are in fragmentation have more health problems. We know that. There was a recent one that I was looking at the other week, which was talking about it's actually being single and not having a partner and not having love is actually equivalent, they reckon now, to smoking 17 cigarettes to 15 to 17 cigarettes a day. That's the damage it can do to you. Yeah. I know this is heavy to hear, but it's the truth. Okay, so if you're if you're single and you are being defending of being single, and there's nothing wrong with being single, I'm single, and we all go through periods of being single. If you are single and you're defending being single, it's like defending the idea that you can just get away with eating cheeseburgers and hamburgers from McDonald's and not have any consequence. Like eventually you're going to get sick or die an early death. There is a pattern that is connected to people when we are in fragmentation and loneliness and we don't have love. Eventually you will get sick, and research shows that this is what loneliness does. So this is really fucking important. It's insanely important to try and find connection, try and find your tribe, try and find love. At least try. And find it in a healthier way. Get out of your comfort zone. Try and go speed dating. Try and strike up a conversation with that person at the coffee shop. We need each other. Humans need connection. And we need to be authentic in our connections as well. So we need to get out of playing characters and be real. Like, who are you? Because when we're real with who we are and how we're expressing ourselves, then we can build real relationships with people. And I think today we're all kind of like encouraged to hyper exaggerate ourselves, to be like characters of ourselves through social media. So when we put a picture on our social media, we are really only putting forward the part of us that we think will be received best by others, not who we really are. So we kind of edit ourselves, we edit our photos, we edit how we appear. And look, this is not about putting best foot forward. We all want to put our best foot forward. Okay, I mean, I tried to dress up, put on a jacket the other day and I'm doing my video. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is being authentic in your connection. So I'm going to give you a really hardcore example. You may not like it, but I'm going to be honest with you. It's like, imagine going to like a dinner party and sitting around a drag queen. Now, I've got nothing against drag. It's fine. Everyone can do whatever they want. But what we have here is a person that's playing a caricature of something else that isn't them. So they've made up a character. Now, that would be no different to putting on a little sock puppet over your hand and then going around at the party or the dinner table and going, "Hello, my name's Polly. Hello, I'm a puppet. How are you?" and communicating in that way. You would laugh. You would think that's insane. You would think, what is this person doing? What the hell are they doing? Why can't you just be you? A drag queen is no different to that, except that the puppet is all over their whole entire body. It's all over them. So they've gone into a character of something to evade who they were before. So I'm all for this, and they might even live in this paradigm of be yourself, love yourself. Well, then if you loved yourself truly, why are you creating characters and interacting through other people through that interface of a character? It's not real. We have to be prepared to get real with how we express ourselves so that we can build real relationships with other people when we're real with them. And this encourages other people to be real with us. Okay, so living through a state of ambivalence and detachment from reality and not caring and just trivializing everyone and trivializing everything, it's not the way. It's not the way. We're not here just to entertain each other like a drag queen. We are here to be the real thing. And to have a chance and a shot at real connection, that requires risk. It requires risk of rejection. But I would rather be rejected for who I am than live in a character that I've made up and put that forth, because I'm not being authentic. Same as a closeted person. They're professional liars. They're living in a place that is completely inauthentic. And now the relationships that they build with other people aren't real because they're not being real with who they are to begin with. How far could that ever go? That's what I've been saying from day dot. You can't prolong something and sustain something that is not real. And it takes a lot of courage to tell the truth and walk the line of reality, walk in alignment, get in fucking alignment with yourself. If you've got fake friends that aren't there for you, fuck them off. You know they're not there for you. You know it. They don't care. If you're in a relationship and this person can't see you, hear you, feel you, understand you on a deep level, start getting an exit strategy. It's not going to last. And you're wasting time because you could be out there looking for a deeper connection with someone else. Okay, so you've got to ask yourself these questions, because I ask myself these questions every single day. Yeah, I know that's a lot, but that's the truth. And this might be someone out there might listen to this and be falling from grace. It's fine. Just understand that this does come from a place of love and truth. It does. But if we're based in the security of looking for connections, then we need someone who can keep us secure in that connection. Okay, and that's really what it is, because we are living in an age of loneliness on this planet. Everyone experiences some level of loneliness, just being isolated. You can live in a city full of people. You can be in a room, in a party full of people and be completely alone. We can. We are in this weird place. Back in the 90s and the 80s and the 70s, it was a lot more different because, we didn't have the ether of that internet interface. So you had to, if you wanted to meet someone, you had to dress up and go down to the pub and go up to a stranger and be like, hey, I love your shirt. You had to try. You had to get out there and do something. These days, it's all just through the internet, and it's just this kind of passive way of connecting. But we have to resolve it. We have to pursue it. We have to pursue real relationships with people and take them in as a part of ourselves. That's the thing. Not separating ourselves and rejecting aspects of others is only just rejecting ourselves. That's what it's always been. I could go deeper into the concept of loneliness, which is shame and the emotional reactions of shame and feeling bad about ourselves or not being received by other people. Like, there is elements that come into loneliness as well from different demographics or different social groups, even different races. I could go into that, but I'd rather just keep it straightforward here. But shame is also a mechanism of fragmentation. By the way, shame is not actually a real emotion. Shame is a biosensory reaction, okay, like poking a sea anemone and it closes up, because it's based off how society views you and you fitting into that group. Yeah. But yeah, this has been a lot to talk about. I'm really trying to go there. I'm trying to be real. And I'm trying to say that if we just polarize ourselves to complete extremes, we could go to social events, media events, networking events, but we're just not getting connection, because there seems to be a real normalization of dysfunctional behavior. And if we call it out, then we get punished for it. And then people are like, no, that's not the way. And I understand how that goes too, because if, say, for example, you came from a demographic that was, polarized or was discredited or was disenfranchised, and then that over the years, say that that mode of people has kind of trickled into the collective and more in the public face now. They've got more rights now. They can get married now or whatever. They kind of rebel against it, and then they want to include everybody's way of being, even if those ways of being are harmful to each other and dysfunctional. I hope that makes sense. Yeah, so we've got to get comfortable in our own skin, in our own body. And, if you're out there now and you're in a state of fragmentation, you're in the spiritual community or you're in the psychological community, you're into psychology or, philosophical things, reach out to me, say hello to me. I may not be available, for chat every single day, but I am available to talk. Like DM me, I'll say, hey, how you doing? Even that can help. Another thing that pisses me off a lot as well is this "Are you okay" day. This type of thing is also this mode of operation is also quite toxic, because it's kind of like, I'll just put it really bluntly, there's no point in saying, hey, are you okay, if you're not actually prepared to help that person. If you're not prepared to actually check in with them and say, hey, are you okay? Like, what's going on with you? I've noticed some changes with you. How can I be of service to you? If you're not prepared to action on the service part, it's actually more damaging to just be superficial with someone, because it's just going to reiterate why they're feeling isolated to begin with, because you don't care. You're not really present with them. You're just saying that you asked someone today that they're okay, but you're not checking in with them. It's just so you can tick off the box and go, yep, I did that. I'm a good person. Aren't I a good person? That's not what we're talking about. If they're not okay, how can you help them get okay, or at least help get them to a support system that can get them okay? Because these days, I think when I meet people that don't cry and don't have panic attacks and don't have some level of disorder, that's the biggest red flag of all. That's the world that we're in. That's where it's gotten to. Or you just have no connection to what's going on out there, no connection to your own internal guidance system. The compass in your internal system is completely skewed and fucked up. So you're like, everything's fine, the world's wonderful, everything's perfect. It's not. Get that in your fucking brain. It's not. At the rate that we're going, we are going to start to see the collapse of society from within, when we don't place value on each other just as human beings and just giving each other the basic respect and courtesy that they need. We're not. I've got a solution. Here's my solution. Here's my proposal. Rather than just talking about the problem, here's a really good one. If everyone in their little bubble got activated in their bubble, in their community or in their workplace or in their street, and spoke to their neighbor and tapped on their door and said, hey, my name's Goliath. I've lived beside you for 2 years and we've never even said hello. Hi. And I want you to know that I'm here for you if you need me. Cup of sugar, if you need support, I'm available. I'm a safe place for you to come to. The offer's there. At least, at least you tried. But we can't expect the world to get better if we're not actively doing what we can in our own community with our own people. You can't. It's like holding an anvil over your foot and dropping it and expecting gravity not to smash your foot with the anvil. It's going to happen. So yeah, anyway, this is where I'm at. If everyone, just got involved in their soup kitchen, in their local community, it would close the gap of loneliness and it would make us feel connected. That's one thing I've noticed with these groups, even with the tarot groups and a lot of these people that are attracted to mysticism and spirituality, they're too lazy or too stupid to actually follow through with the Hermetic principles and take the time and do the due diligence to actually develop magically or psychically or as a witch, but they love being in a community because then they can just talk about bullshit. It's not about the quality of the connection. It's not about the direction of the collective group. It's more about them feeling connected to a group. But this is where it gets very dangerous. So please listen to this part before I go. I'm going to leave the video on this note. Individualization or individualism is also very important to maintain our own autonomy and have critical thinking as to what is right or wrong. Like getting into a cult, that would be a wrong thing. Because if I got into a cult or if I got into a group of people and I just want to fit in so bad that I'm not lonely anymore, then I'm going to completely hand over my autonomy and my own free will and own free thinking to the collectivism of the group. Now I've substituted all of my personal responsibility over to the group collective in exchange for connection in the group, but that's not going to help me. Then you've lost who you are, and now you're going to go with what the group says, not what you know is right in your heart for you and for others. And you'll often find a lot of these group narratives are insane. They're completely destructive. Same with a lot of the ones in the gay culture. It's all this hookup culture of just devaluing each other, devaluation of each other. And in the straight world too. Everyone's devaluing each other based on everyone else is doing it, so I'll just do it too. It's like being a fucking college dropout. Everyone's dropped out of college. Everyone's dropped out of study. And now we've all just substituted our own personal responsibility to the group. You walk down the street. Oh, hey, do you want to do some drugs? Sure, let's do it. Let's go do drugs. And now everyone's doing drugs. So that just reclassifies and just reiterates and reinforces the narrative of the dysfunction. Now we're all on drugs. Do you see where I'm going with this? I know I've covered a lot. It's been a sledgehammer of a podcast. This is my thoughts on the age of loneliness. It is a very serious problem, fragmentation and integration. When we boil all things down, it comes to one of these two things, fragmentation or integration. Are you bringing something in as a part of you and taking it as a part of you, which is love, or are you pushing it away? Because you can't push something away. You can't punch something without hurting your fist too. Okay, we're all connected, we're all one. Humans just could never, the Luciferian in me, the satanic part of me, or the darker parts of me that exists in my collective consciousness that I actually admit to, most days looks at the world and goes, I can't wait for this to collapse. I can't wait for modern society to collapse. And it will. It's just a matter of time. It's going to happen in my life. It's not going to happen in the next generation. Oh, well, they're going to have to deal with it, clean up our mess. No, it's going to happen right in this generation. It's going to happen. That darker part of me, that shadow part of me that I admit to, it doesn't run me, but it's definitely there. Some days I'd rather just see it all just burn. The anarchist in me would be like, oh, let it all burn. Humans had to make up false gods. They could never take each other in as a part of each other. They couldn't take care of the environment. They couldn't take care of themselves. They just couldn't take care of it. They could not figure out that we're all one. They just couldn't. They always wanted the biggest piece of meat. They wanted the best house, the fastest car. It's all about this consumeristic shit. Status. Guess what? It's all landfill. Everything in your house, everything around you right now, even the clothes that you wear, will be landfill and dust. All that matters is the invisible glue between each other. And if we don't start placing value on that, then it is going to collapse sooner rather than later. Don't you doubt it. Don't fool yourself, my friends. It is. Lots of love. I know this has been heavy. Leave some comments below. Let me know what you think. This is my video on the age of loneliness. I will be doing another video next week. If you'd like me to talk about any type of topic you'd like me to address, I'm more than happy to jump into it. You know I'm going to fight this like a lion. That's what I do. All right, lots of love and peace to you. Okay, bye. Bye, guys. Bye.